Hi everybody. In this lesson I will talk about basic of flat list as in this example. So firstly we need to compare between the scroll view and the flat list. About scroll view, you cannot work with a long list, so you have, because it have to render own component, so it is hard to work with big component, and you have to use the list view because it only render visible item. It is faster and best for homogeneous item. So firstly we need to create an array of data. So we have a fixed of data here, so we can have a long list of data. So the proper way is to add it into a file, into a folder. So we have the data folder or data directory. Then in this I create a new file, FlatList data.js. So this is a JavaScript file that contains the fixed data. So in this we have a variable, we define a variable, an object is an array. So we have an array of data, FlatList data. So this is an array. Inside this array we have multiple objects. We have one object, two objects, etc. And it is a list of JavaScript object. So each of the object has a property, for example name, or the food description. For example, this is a cup of cream tea, etc. So we have a multiple object here, and we have a key for each of the object. So the key is unique for each object, so each object has a separate key. And so we have a multiple object as here. We have a key, we have a different key, we have a name, we have a food description, and all of the object has a type of we have property of key, name, description. So you have to export this, so make this variable public, so you can import this variable to your components. So inside this the component, we create a new component, basic FlatList.js, and this will contain the FlatList component. So firstly we need to import some of the library. We have the component, we have FlatList library. So remember that we use FlatList library or FlatList component. So I import the data, the variable data from the file FlatList.js. Yes, and we define the basic FlatList component extend from the component, and inside this we have a view in return function. We have the view. Inside the view we customize, we add the FlatList inside the view. This FlatList has some of the property. The first is data. Remember that's the data property. The second is a render item, and this is the two important prop. The first is data is a list of data, and the second is render item. Render item means that it is a customized component. So inside this we have an arrow function. It will return to the component that or the cell or the row. Yes, and the input parameter is item or each of the data in your data list, and the second is the index. So we have 0, 1, 2, etc. And for testing we can output to the screen this property. So I show to the screen item, we show index. So then let's start, but we must import the property to here, the component to here, by import basic FlatList component from / components basic FlatList. Okay, and replace the app component with basic FlatList. Okay, Then you can run the debugger user interface and press this button to show the inspector, the debugging inspector, to show you the console log, etc. variable. So here we can refresh, check, and reload. Yes, reload the data. Yes, so you see that the object item is here, but and the index, okay, but what about the item? You want to show the detail object, so you have to use json.stringify function. Okay, then save. Okay, so this is the item object here. The item object here is the item of each of the data, the object in your data list. Yes. Okay, so we have key, we have a name, we have property, a food description, etc. So this is the data we need to show in the component of item. Then this return function will return for an item component. So we have to define the component for item. Yes, so we define here as it's as a class FlatList item. It stands from component, Reactnative component, and inside this we have a render function. So it is an item component for FlatList, and I will use this item for show the row of each of the component in the FlatList. So here I add this to here. So we have to define two property or two props. So here we have two props. The first prop is the item, the second is the index, and this is my self-defined props. So repeat that we have two props that I have just defined or self-defined. We have index, we have item, and this is a property of FlatList item, and it is they are self-defined property. Yes. So please you can use it in inside the FlatList item. So firstly we need to style this. We can style the item FlatList1 for full screen, and the background color we can change the background color. Or this, okay. So this background color will change depending on your index. If the index is divided by 2 is 0, and if in this color, and otherwise use another color. So this means that the first item is one color and the second item is another color. Yes, and inside this we have text. The text, this text will show the content of the item, property item. Then the inside this we have a name, we have a food description. As here we have a key, we have name, we have food description. Yes, so I will show two texts. The first is name and the second is food description, and you have to use open and close bracket. Open and close bracket here. Yes, close bracket. Yes, then we see that we have information here. Okay, the data is okay, but you have to style this for better. You want to make the same style for two texts. You can set it separately in a project, an object. So you define an object constant style, crystallize it, and we have an object for styling text. Name FlatList item. It is an object, and this object is this object has color, has padding, has font size. So you assign it by style dot FlatList item. Okay, this is FlatList item, and it is the same for two texts. So two text has the same two text has the same style. you paste to here, okay, and you run the emulator. Okay, so it is a beautiful user interface as you need. We have to color here for each of the cell. You can scroll up and down. It's very smoothly. So this is the end of my lesson today about the basic of FlatList. Thank you very much for watching this lesson. Please subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos, or download the code from GitHub here. Thank you very much.